Welcome to whofooadventures. We are here with Louisa and Michael with Vegans on a Mission. We are going to do a podcast together where I get to share my story once again with all of you out there, and we just hope you enjoy it. So let's roll it. I am really privileged to be here with Louisa and Michael with two vegans and Vegans on a Mission. Am I right?
Right.
I get to share my story of my journey with being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. In 2004, when I was 46 years old, while I was attending cosmetology school, I started having problems like my balance was off, I was dizzy, I was having a hearing loss. So I went to an audiologist and he did some tests on me, found out I had a unilateral hearing loss on the left side. That led me to have to find out, was it genetic or was there a tumor going on? I was then sent to a neurologist, and the neurologist said, well, let's do some other tests first. So they sent me to an ENT, and I did all those fun tests with the ears and flooding my ears with water and all that kind of stuff. Found everything looked good. So they said, okay, let's do an MRI. So they did an MRI, came back with some lesions on the brain, none on my spine, and then decided to do a second test, which was a lumbar puncture. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. Not really. And they did that, and it came back with a confirmation that I did have multiple sclerosis. I decided at that time I wanted a second opinion. This was a little scary kind of a diagnosis at that time. So I went to Barrow's Neurological Institute in Phoenix, Arizona, and they did some more tests on me and some more MRIs and came back and confirmed that I did have MS. I have relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. That started my journey then in 2004 of going on and off medications like Copaxone, going on and off trial studies that I was the first one on a medication and the first one off. They were constantly testing your eyes, your ears, your lungs, everything you could think of, they're testing to make sure you don't have those side effects. Of course, every drug that you take, just one of them, has a page or two of side effects. And then they're putting like 2 or 3 of those drugs together on you. Well, finally, after about 4 years of that, I decided I didn't like it anymore. I was tired of doing shots every day, and I said no more. So they switched me over from the studies over to the clinic side, and I became an in and out patient as needed. So I was a clinical patient, and at that time, around 2008, I was introduced to a holistic way of looking at trying to treat the MS. And I call it because it's not mine. I don't own it. It's a diagnosis. I decided to look into this holistic way, and it was through Hallelujah Acres out of, I think it's North Carolina. And it was 85% raw and 15% cooked. That started my journey. And it was almost like a drug addict in that I had to learn why I went to the kind of foods that maybe were making me sick. And a lot of emotions, a lot of dealing with why I felt a certain way. And during that time, I wasn't always a lovely person to be around, but I had to get to the heart of the problem that I was struggling with. But that year, as I started juicing more and removing a lot of the meat, I think the only kind of meat I ate once in a great while was some eggs in an omelet or in a pancake. I pretty much gave up all dairy and cheese and most of the meat. I started feeling better, and the more I started feeling better, the more I wanted more of that feeling. I knew how I felt before with the drugs and everything. So each year it got better, and I started finding out about people within the holistic movement that I wanted to read some of their books. Dr. John McDougall, Dr. T. Colin Campbell. Then I started reading Dr. Roy Swank's work on multiple sclerosis that Dr. John McDougall works with and is carrying on his work with the MS community. And I saw that they were having much success with eating plant-based. And I thought, well, I like this raw and I like juicing, but I'd like a little bit more in my diet. And that's when I learned about the Starchavarian diet with Dr. McDougall. And I thought, I can do this. And I happened to find the cassette tapes my father had when Dr. McDougall, was just out. He had all the cassette tapes that he used and followed having cardiovascular disease, and that extended his life a lot longer. He wouldn't have lived as long as he did if he hadn't. I wish I'd asked him more questions then. He's not alive anymore, but I have a good example. So I did that, and then I just started feeling better. I got to the point where my relapses, they had been every 6 months. Now were like maybe once a year. So it was getting longer in between them. And when I would have a relapse, I would be pretty much extreme fatigue, pain in my body, like having flu symptoms in your body that you can't get rid of. I'd be on a cane. I walked on the cane, and I was on 2 antidepressants, and I had been for over 10 years. My quality of life was not fun at all, and I just wanted something more. So as I started feeling more life and energy, and I started reading, I kept trying more. And the more I tried, the more I experienced, and I loved it. So you get us up to about 2000, I can't remember what year it was. It was later. We took the T. Colin Campbell and the E. Cornell plant-based certification and learned so much. And I just have been on this journey just to bring more of life into my body. Life through the words I say, life in the words I express to people in my love, life in the food I eat, and less of things to do with death in my world. And as we started with health issues, that led us to really being about the animals and how the suffering that they go through at the expense of eating meat and dairy that we really don't need to eat today. We also then became more involved with the environment, and to know how much of our land is being ruined, and the climate change and everything that's happening to do with the meat industry that's happening. Gotten involved in Veg Fest in Sedona and in Phoenix, Arizona, and really just helping to spread our story of how my health has changed considerably. I've run a half marathon, I bike, I play with my grandchildren, I walk, we do camping and road trips in the summer, and I just love life right now, and it's a great place to be right now. I want to continue sharing my story that you can change your health with the food you eat. You can help change the health crisis that we have in the United States today and in the world. We can change the starvation in the world and the malnutrition.
Thanks for watching this portion of Carol's interview by our 2 new friends, Michael and Louisa. Check out the full interview on their podcast, 2 Vegans on a Mission. Also check out their Instagram, Heaven in a Class C, or their website, vegansonamission.com. And don't forget to subscribe for more Whofoo content and more videos on our 2019 camping road trip.